The start of the weekend means it's the start of the 2016 GP3 Championship. Dan's making its first appearance in this formula, while ART will look to dominate. All four ART drivers in the top 5 Albon leads Genesis, while Fukushima, De Vries and Leclerc start at the top of the grid. The first Dams cars in the form of Hughes takes P7, followed by second Trident driver Antonio Fuccio. Kevin de Jong also starts ahead of Santino Ferici. The only female driver in the grid makes it P20, which is Tatiana Calderon. The Genzen Motorsport driver lineup P13 and P16. Nearly time for the lights out in GP3.
What is up, guys? We are back with GP3 now. We did GP2, we still got F1 to do after this. We've got to complete the Spanish weekend. But yeah, we have the GP3. It's pretty much similar to the GP2. It's a feeder series, obviously, to that sport. So instead of having, say, 2 drivers per team, the choices for the teams can run 4 drivers if they want. Some opt to run 2 and some run 3. So that will be respected as that. ALT are running 4 drivers. That's going to be interesting to see how we do. So, any more wasting time, let's get into the race. Four ART cars in the top 5. That is an amazing job. Leclerc not doing too good as he did in real life, but De Vries and Fukuzumi doing a standout job. We are on the way now. We've got Janos just ahead of us. We're hopefully going to mug him off on the line so we can get all 4 ART cars on the top 4 places. Leclerc is going to have a look down our inside. We're going to give him the space as he's our teammate, and poor Trident car getting mugged off by all of us, but he's managed to hold 4th place, I believe. So at the moment it's an ART 1, 2, 3 with Albon out in front, De Vries, which is ourselves, in 2nd place, followed by Fukuzumi. So he's doing an amazing job at the moment. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, and he goes so slow. We saw that in the GP2 race. They just brake so early coming into that corner, but nonetheless, that is us job done. You can actually see Albon has actually fallen down to 3rd place now because Fukuzumi has actually come into 2nd, so that's not a bad job by the ALT boys. A 1, 2, 3. I'm not completely sure if we have 4th place as well. We're gonna have to find out. We're coming on to lap, I believe that is lap 2, and we can see we actually have Jorg having a look at Isaac Iron, and he actually goes down the inside. That was a crazy lunge by the Dams driver. So like I said, the first time Dams is in GP3, so they're doing an alright job so far. But coming on to the end of lap 2, we're having a struggle through this section. We are still ALT 1, 2, 3, so it looks very good for us nonetheless. We've got a feeling that Fukuzumi is actually going to have a look at us. We're going to take the defensive line just in case, because the way the car's set up, we haven't got the best downforce. We hit the rev limiter so early, as do all the cars, but with the tow and slipstream, he's going to have a look, and I think he's going to hold that position. We're not going to fight him too much because we don't want to do a Hamilton and Rosberg in real life. That's the last thing we need. But we're just going to have to try and make our way and catch up to him. So again, we're looking on this lap. You can actually see he's actually going to make a move on, I believe that's Janos as well. So very good job there by Albon. So that's banging job by him. We're doing a really good job. It was lap 3, apologies for that. I completely got my laps mixed up. We're still behind Fukuzumi right now. We're actually trying to see where we can do, if anything shows us the ARTs are really good around this corner. If anything less, you can see we're closing in on him. So the ARTs really have got a good setup around this car, around this corner, let alone setups, possibly the cars. As we are going to have a look, maybe we do, maybe we don't. He goes very slow and parks the bus, but we're going to get around his outside on the second half of the chicane. I don't think that's happened so far yet this season. We're actually going to go very slowly, and we're actually going to struggle on the exit, and we're actually going to drift out wide, which is going to leave Fukushima, and you can see Hughes has actually stormed up the grid, and I actually think he went into the back of us a little bit, so he's going to have front wing damage. So yeah, Hughes has done a fantastic job to get past both the ARTs and Janos at the same time, but nonetheless, we are on the end of lap 4 with haven't got past him. Albon back up into 3rd place, doing a stellar job for the ART team. If they can get 3 cars on the podium in the first race of GP3, then that's an amazing way to start the season. So like I said, when I come into the pit lane now, nothing too precarious, just in and out, pit stop. So far the race has actually been rather entertaining. You can see Leclerc is actually in 4th place, so it's an ART 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is a fantastic job by ART, absolutely locking out the top 4 places. The only thing with that is that means only one of the 4 ART drivers aren't going to be on the podium. So you can bet that every single one of them is going to want to fight for that last podium slot. So we're going to come back out in P7 in a bit of clear air of all the other cars, but hopefully we can make up some time on that. We've actually got Tatiana Calderon now, going after, I believe that's Stovic. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that's Stovic. She's in the famous chicane. There's been so many overtakes this weekend, and she's actually going to make one as well. I almost called her a man. I do apologise for that. So back to the action now. We actually have a Dams car battling with, I think that's Bushong. So we've got a Dams car, which is Jorg actually. So he's been quite eventful this afternoon, going past one Trident, and he's actually going to get locked on the other Trident, and he's going to have to take a wide berth. But that is almost a carbon copy move, an incident that we saw of the 2 Dams cars coming together earlier in GP2. So so far the Dams aren't having a fantastic afternoon of it, so they are really struggling by the looks of it. They both teams of the GP2 and GP3 seem to like that runoff area, so that's really not good for them. So Dams look like they're struggling a little bit with Hughes losing his front wing, and then that incident for Jorg. But so we're back on to lap 6. Everyone's finally made their pit stops. We're actually going to come out and have a look, and we can actually see that we're just about ahead of him. Behind him, sorry, the undercut didn't actually work to our advantage, but we've got Atkin in, I think that's 4th place, I believe, so he's doing a fantastic job for the Arden team. Probably not by any stretch of the imagination the best team in GP3 or GP2, but nonetheless we're going to hold on to him to try and get that slipstream. Like I said before, like, this last sector really does suit the ART cars, let alone us as well. Sirotkin obviously did a fantastic job in the last sector, making many positions, and hopefully we can do the same as Fukushima. I think he locks up, we lock up too, but we're going to be right up the gearbox of our, I guess technically he's not our teammate, but for all intents and purposes we're going to call him our teammate. As we look to hold it around the outside, we're going to come back in for the switchback, and we're going to be side by side. So this is going to be our corner. He's going to have to bail out of it, which he does, because I don't think he wants any contact with our semi-teammate. We'll call them a semi-teammate because we're the same team, but we're not teammates, if that makes sense. But anyway, we're going to come on to the second to last lap now. We've actually got a teammate battle between Nandi and Gonda of, I believe that's the Shenza Motorsport team. I think it's right. Pretty solid move around the inside, no problem there. Piece of cake for the boys themselves. There's not going to be much action for the rest of that, so it's going to be job done for Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries is going to take the first win in the first race of the GP3 season. Fantastic job from him. Now we're going to go to Josh very shortly to talk about the upcoming sprint race, but fantastic job by De Vries. So that is almost a complete lockout for ART. So 3 out of 4 isn't too bad, but I'm pretty sure Nick De Vries is going to be happy with that, as well as the ART teams, both the GP2 and the GP3 winning in the round 1. So that's a fantastic job from them boys. Let's have a look and listen to Josh.
Nick De Vries took a mining win in the feature race, while ART took a complete podium 1-2-3 as Arthur Janishus came 4th. Hughes and Leclerc came together, meaning they had to make a second stop, so they'll start from the back, meaning it'll be very difficult for them to come through the field. Jake will start from pole, followed by Nan. Dams didn't perform as well as they would like, as the highest driver placed 11th. Can ART come through and win the sprint race as well? We should see more of taken from De Vries like we did in the first race. Time for the second race of the GP3 2016 season.
Yes, will we see more overtaken from Nick De Vries? We'll only find out coming in to the next part of the race. You can see the grid is as it was at the end there for all the cars that retired, and so like Leclerc starting from 18th after that coming together with Hughes, so that really did hinder ART's chance, but with any luck we can get another good result. Jack Aitken started on pole. He did look promising for a 4th place, but obviously he fiddled down the field towards the end. So if he can get off to a good start, and hopefully we can too. We've got Fukuzima just ahead of us as we are now on the way. We've got our actual teammate just ahead of us in the form of Alexander Albon. So hopefully going off to a good start. We're actually going to be mugged either side by Alessi and Gonda, so that really isn't great. We're actually going to have to take avoiding action and get on the grass. We're going to have to slow down. We don't want to filter in to an accident. We're going to lose an end plate on Jake Dennis, so that's really going to hurt us quite a bit. We've got Bushong, who had that incident with Jake Hughes, going ahead of us as well. We're actually getting nudged by, I believe that is Tatiana Calderon, I think. We're actually going to look down the inside. We don't gain too much ground, but we're going to have to be very careful. We're actually get stuck on Dennis's rear wing. We can see actually Bushong has has come back at us, an absolute treat. We're going to dive it down the inside and make as many positions as we can. We're now stuck behind 2 Trident cards of Janos. So Janos is actually he's dropped down a few places, which isn't very good for him. We have one of the 2 Coronan cars, I believe, or I think it's the Genza cars. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly familiar with GP3. I'm learning as we go down the inside of him nonetheless. Obviously the driver names are slightly different because when this was created, when this was filmed, sorry, it was a bit out of sync with the actual season. So as you can see, he actually did get past us on the straight, and we're actually going to have a look at Aitken. So he's dropped down from 1st place all the way down to 7th. So he's had such a bad race for him. But we've got Alessi now ahead of us, who he was battling with about a lap ago, but he's actually got on and done rather well for himself. We'll have a look at a replay of what happened at the start, because a lot of things happened at the start. Like it was just crazy. We didn't actually get the seal of it. So now going to look back, here's actually Foucault going around Nandi's, and Aitken's actually still got the position at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if we can see what actually happened to him as he filtered down the field, and we actually see what actually happened to Tatiana Calderon. She actually ended up getting spun. So that wasn't Tatiana Calderon that actually went inside of us. But unfortunately for them, that's really not what she wanted. She did have a solid first race. And then to be spun by Gonda, it's not what you want really. It does suck. It really is. It's probably one of the last things. So you can see he just gets on the grass a little bit, and I think he just he sees a gap and it just doesn't work. It's typical what you see in GP3. The drivers are just a bit over the place. But you can actually see what actually happened to Janos, who actually did this after we overtook him. So he hasn't done too well either. So Janos having a solid first drive, now falling down the field a little bit. So that seems to be the trend of this race. A lot of drivers falling down the field as far as that goes. We're going to pick back up on board. Coming towards the end of lap 2, we've got Alessi just ahead of us in 6th place. We're going to get as high up as we can because we do need the points. I don't think ART as a constructor really needs the points, but nonetheless we're going to do whatever we can. We've got Isaac Iron just ahead of us. We're going to need to get past him as well, as I believe our teammate is ahead of us by 1 more place. So ahead of Isaac Iron is our teammate Alexander Albon. We've got Alessi coming back at us as well, so we can't worry about that too yet. So Alessi getting a fantastic run. Like we said, our car is not set up for straight line speed. It's more for the corners, which is why we make such good moves and such great overtakes throughout the rest of the corner. So this is obviously going to be a harder job for us. Now we're going to have a look at Jake Aitken, who is behind us. We'll actually see what actually happens to him. He's actually going to go in the gravel. Actually, he's actually going to spin it a little bit, but he does hold on to it. So he hasn't done too bad of a job there. He's just going to maintain it, but his race has gone from bad to worse. It's just not happening for him. Bless his little heart. We're gonna have another look on board and see what happens. So he went in a bit hot. He lost traction on the rear. He manages to pull it out of the gravel, and it almost collected one of the Trident cars for good measure. So he got back on the track, but as you can see, it's a bit I don't know if he's trying to work, take the gravel off the tyres or what is he doing, but nonetheless we are now back on lap 3. We're going to have a look at Alessi. Again, we're going to try the same move that Sirotkin did. It didn't quite work for us, hasn't worked for us so far this race, but we're going to switch to the inside and make that move. For sure, that's going to be used in the F1 race as well, because so many cars in the GP2 and GP3 have made that. And there's actually contact up ahead. We've got Isaac Kyan and Albon, our teammate Albon. They have come together, so that is dreadful work for them. That's really bad. So we can actually have a look on the second to last lap. Isaac Kyan didn't lose his front wing, but I think he does here. Yeah, I think he does. I think he had a puncture with Albon, and obviously Albon lost his front wing. So now, for good measure, Isaac Kyan has now lost his front wing also. So it's going from bad to worse for Isaac Kyan as well. But we're on the final lap now. We've got Fukuzumi ahead. He's got a pretty big gap. We're not going to worry about him. The person we are going to worry about, though, is Alessi, as he's got a fantastic run off that corner. We're actually going to bang tyres a little bit as I try and squeeze him. We're going to have a look down his inside with a switchback, and he's going to probably get a better line than us. We're also going to have to watch out for the other car. He's actually going to go side by side here. This is a fantastic last lap, but we need to get that position back off Alessi to get as much points as we can. So we're going to try our favourite move. It worked on him last lap. Is he gonna leave the door open? Yes, he is. Again, he didn't. I don't know if he didn't think to, or he didn't think I was gonna make it. But we have made the move stick. We are side by side. But that is gonna be it for the sprint race and for the final GP3 race of the Spanish Grand Prix. We came home in a solid first place and then a solid fourth place. We have done the job for the ART team. Now the only thing left to do is for the F1 race. What can happen in that race? Will it be a different winner in another different race? We'll have to find out. So now looking at the drivers, so we can see Nick De Vries with a solid 33 points over his teammate, or semi-teammate, Fukuzumi, with about 5 points. That's not too bad. Antonio Fuco in the Trident car doing a fantastic job in the second race, to be able to get up there to split the ALT boys 2-1. So obviously Albon, our actual teammate, in fourth place, not too bad for him. Akash and Andy with 16 points, riding fifth. Janos, who did a very good job in the first race, not doing too good in the second, which I think, same with Aitken in eighth, did pretty much the exact same thing. Bar Isaac Kyan, who had 2 poor races, but nonetheless he managed to get himself 10 points in 2 races, so that's pretty good for him. Lacey doing a fantastic job, sitting in P9, and then you have Gonda rounding out the top 10. Constructors is more or less one-sided. We've got ART on a grand total 80 points. That is almost double over Trident with 42. So bar 2 points, they are double what the second team has already. It's crazy how many points if you have 4 drivers in. But nonetheless, Genza doing an alright job. A third place with 18 points, and then Arden in 5th place has got 10 times less than what ART has. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Coronan not doing too bad in 4th place either, but nonetheless it's been a solid race weekend for GP3, especially for ART in GP2 and GP3. So I guess all eyes now will be on the Formula 1 race. What can happen there? Can it be 5 different winners in 5 different races? We can only find out when we get there. Until next video, guys, goodbye.